All right, Rick, we're going to talk about some other notable picks. We went through winners and losers. Going to talk notable picks, then we'll get to best players available on day 3. But let's start with the Packers, a team that I'll ask you a little pop quiz, hotshot. When is the last time the Packers took a wide receiver in round 1?
2006?
2002.
Okay, I was close.
Who was it?
I don't know that.
Florida State. Javon Walker. That is the last time, 21 years.
Had double ACL knee surgeries.
That is not good for wide receivers. I've been told, not a doctor. But here's the thing. They have a great history, recent history, of taking these wide receivers in round 2. And Jordy Nelson's an example. Greg Jennings is an example. Christian Watson last year is an example. And this year,
Randall Cobb?
Randall Cobb is an example out of Kentucky. This year, they are going crazy in round 2 yet again. So what did they get? Luke Musgrave, tight end. And then they get Jaden Reed, wide receiver. And then they come back in round 3 and get tight end Tucker Kraft again. We've talked about Musgrave and Kraft, two incredibly athletic tight ends, no doubt about it. And Kraft, I called him a mini, you're not going to like this because Rick doesn't like my comps, a mini Travis Kelce coming out of Cincinnati.
Oh my God.
Not now.
Come on, Kraft?
Coming out of Cincinnati.
You're saying Kraft is just as athletic as Musgrave and Kraft is just as athletic as Kelce coming out of Cincinnati?
I'm pretty sure I didn't say that. But let me ask you this. What do you think about what they've done on the offensive side of the ball for Jordan Love, who, unless something changes, is going to be quarterback 1?
Yeah. No, I think getting Musgrave was a huge get for them. And the reason I say that is they got a young group of receivers last year. They added another young receiver this year. And now you're going to have Jordan Love grow with all these talented, skilled positions. And Luke Musgrave, who we talked about, didn't play much last year, was injured. Did you know, Ryan, that he was almost a professional downhill skier?
That's right. And he also played a sport that your son coaches.
Lacrosse.
Yeah.
And you did not like his mustache at the Combine.
And he did not like me not liking his mustache.
And
By
that
the way,
was our worst interview, and you just ruined the whole interview right off the bat by commenting on his little Frenchy mustache.
pencil. And to be fair, and you know this better than I do, sometimes these players are nervous. And it's a job interview. They're talking to people in the media they may not want to talk to. I get all that. A name we mentioned, by the way, and I would be remiss if I didn't correct us, Davante Adams apparently was a 2nd-round pick, too.
Yes.
So he was pretty good. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, the Packers. And I'm looking forward to see how this works out for Jordan Love, because it feels like Jordan Love is going to be in a situation where there are going to be few excuses to have success because they're putting the players around.
But you have to remember, they're all young. The receivers last year are going into their 2nd year.
That's true.
And they're going to grow. These rookies are coming in. They don't know what the NFL is about. They have all the physical traits that you're looking for to be impact players, but it's going to take time and it's going to take development. And they're going to grow it with a young quarterback who has very little play history, a lot of upside, and Green Bay is all in on Jordan Love. So it'll be interesting to see how the Packers grow this young group of skilled players with their young quarterback.
Another team I wanted to mention, player in particular, in terms of notable picks that got my attention, the Washington Commanders. Yesterday, in the 1st round, they got Emmanuel Forbes at 16. We had heard that might be a situation that happened. Great ball skills, the best among the cornerbacks in this draft class. Then on day 2, they come back and get Jartavius Martin. He goes by Quan, and he plays in the slot. He can play free safety. He can play outside if you want him to. 5'11", 194. Ran sub 4.5. Teammates with Devin Witherspoon. Teammates with Sidney Brown, who you talked about earlier, the safety as well. There's very little to be worried about with this draft class. And then they get Rick Stromberg, who can play center guard from Arkansas at the end of day 2. This is a pretty good draft haul.
Yeah, no, they're following their board, and when you see this and you see the type of players that they're taking, they're all playmakers on the at their respective position. They needed help, especially in the secondary. They addressed those needs in this draft, and they got a very good center that has an opportunity. Probably not going to be a starter in his 1st year, but he has a lot of upside from an athletic skill standpoint to fit what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball.
Just a quick question. Does this feel like a relatively deep center class that we weren't necessarily talking about until the first 2 days?
Well, I think some of there, because there's combination center guards, so that's why you kind of copped out a little bit, if I can say that.
Yeah, you can.
And put him as interior offensive lineman. Because when people draft,
I love that you think that I'm making the graphics, by the way, but go ahead.
But when people are building their draft board.
Yeah.
Some of them will be at center, some of them will be at
Right.
guard. So that's why you have to give them, and that's what makes them more valuable, because on game day, you only have 7 offensive linemen and the 8th offensive lineman, but most of the time, if you're a backup or if you're a young player and you want to be active on game day, you have to be able to play multiple positions. And a lot of the guys that we're talking about, a lot of the offensive linemen we're taking yesterday are going to be, probably day one starters. Today, a lot of these guys have position flexibility, so as they learn and grow, they'll dress on game day, may not start, but if someone gets hurt, they could potentially go into guard, they can go into center. Some of the tackles we talked about can play tackle to guard, so that's what's making them so valuable when they're getting picked in the second day here.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot because you're pretty good at thinking on your feet. And if not, I have a backup answer just in case. Any other players that were picked today that stick out in your mind? And if you need a hint, I got one for you.
Give me a hint.
Short arms,
Oh,
Tampa Bay,
no teeth?
no teeth.
Yeah.
Cody Mauch.
Cody Mauch. Yeah, no, I loved the player when I watched him on tape. He was a left tackle at North Dakota State, dominated his level of competition, very athletic, has athletic left tackle feet. He just doesn't have the length of a left tackle. When you watch him on tape, he does an excellent job getting out in space and just finishing guys. And you see him lock on the players at that level and take him out of bounds and throw him out of the barn up into the stands. So he's going to move inside the guard. Tampa Bay has a history of taking left tackles from small school and putting them inside the guard. And I'm going to ask you a question.
I would love you to.
And you already have the answer to this. Last time they did that, that small school player ended up being a Pro Bowl player. Who was that?
Ali Marpet out of Hobart.
Yeah, you said it was just right down the road.
Right down the
from
road,
where
an
you
hour
live.
away.
Did you go scout him?
He was on one of the one on the Finger Lakes. I went to the Finger Lakes. I forgot to look for him there, but that's a conversation for another time.
Look at that picture.
Look, here's the thing, though. You don't want someone who looks like they're a supermodel to be your to protect your quarterback. You want him to look like he's Thor's. He looks like a pirate. He looks like Thor's long lost cousin. And I know you don't watch movies that are on the Hallmark Channel, Rick, but that's a good thing.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, so now we don't have to spend all that time watching film. We could just look at their profiles and determine whether they're going to be good football players or not.
So, what is more gives you more pause? Cody Mauch's mugshot or Ryan Wilson's avatar on with the first pick image?
Definitely the avatar. I would take Cody's Mauch's mugshot over your avatar.
I
any
would
day.
ask our awesome graphics people to put Cody Mauch's face on my body on the avatar, and then we're all winners as far as I'm concerned.